Hello YouTube, this is a Sim Basketball Operator bringing an NBA 2K13 Association commentary. And this is just the conclusion to my offseason. Right here, Kyrie Irving, I'm just improving his shooting a little bit. Paul George, I'm saying the big man defense so he can become that complete all-around player and a really great defender. And then moving on, I'm sending Tristan Thompson to the rebounding camp, and look at that offensive rebounding. It's up to an 89, which is going to be very helpful. I'm sending Tyler Zeller to big man offense. He helped him up get his overall to 75. And Dion Waiters I'm going to send to perimeter defense. So he goes up to an 85 overall. Doing the same thing with Ben McLemore. And I'm also going to send John Lure to big man defense, just using all of these reward points to improve my team. And then going on, I think I'm going to improve my rookies now. I'm going to send Willie Cauley-Stein to the weight camp. And as you can see, his weight goes up to 208, still skinny, but his strength's at a 77, which is a great improvement. Andre Roberson I'm sending to perimeter shooting. As you see, his overall goes up. And now I'm going to take a little quick look at the rotation a little bit. Zeller's moving into the starting lineup. I'm limiting his minutes coming out. Varejao is going to be my 7th man. Chauncey Billups is going to be there as well, being a role player to back up the point guard and the shooting guard. Shane Battier is also going to be a role player. And then I have my 2 prospects down at the bottom. And then for this draft class, I do have a 2015 draft class, but it's going to be highly inaccurate because it's 3 years from now and a lot can change. Now looking at the rest of the league for a little bit, you got the Clippers, don't have Chris Paul, but they have Blake Griffin and Eric Bledsoe, as well as Anthony Bennett off the bench. The Grizzlies have not changed. Rudy Gay is still there. And Mike Conley is still there. Marc Gasol is still there. The Hawks have not changed as well. They still got their core intact with Smith, Horford, Williams, Teague. But the funny thing about the Hawks is that they have both the Harrison twins. They drafted Andrew Harrison at number 7 and Aaron Harrison at number 11. So that's kind of funny how both of them ended up on the same team. Miami Heat have Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh, but they do not have LeBron James. He's signed somewhere else. But their center position has really improved with Spencer Hawes and Marcin Gortat. The Hornets are looking pretty good with Davis, Hickson, Gordon. The Jazz have kept all those big men. They have Favors, Jefferson, Millsap, and Enes Kanter. So they're still going to stay in the mediocre range, whereas the Jazz in real life tore it down. The Kings stayed the same, but look at that improvement. DeMarcus Cousins has become one of the best centers, if not the best, in the NBA. Shumpert's now the best player in the Knicks because Carmelo left. They still have Stoudemire, and they actually added Jared Bayless. Still have Tyson Chandler, but they also have Kelly Olynyk. The Lakers have Kobe Bryant, but they have Andrew Wiggins. So the stardom in LA continues, as well as having Pau Gasol, David West, and Shannon Brown return to the Los Angeles Lakers. Looking at the Magic, they added Jabari Parker, but they still are keeping this high amount of forwards. They have Andrew Nicholson still. They have Richard Jefferson. They also have Alex Poythress, who they drafted in my first year of the association, which is quite a reach. And they still have a very angry Mo Harkless on the team, so they got a lot of forwards. But LeBron James decided to go to the Mavericks, I guess because they have the cap space. He joins Darren Collison, Dirk Nowitzki, Roddy Beaubois, and Brandon Wright. So not the greatest team, but hey, LeBron wanted to go there. I guess Mark Cuban finally landed that free agent he was looking for. And his team is quite unremarkable, so we'll see how they do now that they have LeBron, which can really change everything. Look at the Nets. They don't have Pierce or Garnett, but they have Darren Williams, Brook Lopez still. The Nuggets lost Andre Iguodala, but they have Ty Lawson still leading the team. Danny Granger's not the star of the Pacers since I kind of stole Paul George away, but they also have Julius Randle, who they added in this year's draft. And now going on to the Pistons, they have Dwight Howard, Greg Monroe, Nerlens Noel, and Andre Drummond. So they have this immense front court, even more crowded than it is in real life with Josh Smith. And they don't really have anyone else, so this, aside from a deep front court, this is about all they got. The Raptors are looking pretty bad when you have Landry Fields as your second best player. DeRozan's improved a little bit. Terrence Ross has improved, and Ed Davis is still on the team. Marcus Smart should be ready to take over point guard duties. The Rockets have Chris Paul, James Harden, Jeremy Lin, Patrick Patterson, Chandler Parsons. So they went the route of signing the point guard rather than Dwight Howard. And the Spurs are now led by Kawhi Leonard. The torch has officially been passed. They also have Kevin Garnett, easily making the oldest team in the league, and a very angry Nikola Pekovic. And Carmelo Anthony decided to go to the Suns to join the most inefficient team in basketball with Michael Beasley and Jeff Green. And they just have so many point guards. Finally, a big guy. I think that was Markieff Morris, Trevor Mbakwe. But Luis Scola is injured. This is a very perimeter-oriented team. The Thunder have stayed the same, but Jeremy Lamb has become a beast. Alex Len is ready to take over the starting duties and relieve the black hole that is Kendrick Perkins, who will be paid $9.15 million this year. Nothing to look forward to if you're a Thunder fan. Now the Timberwolves have Brandon Jennings and Ricky Rubio. Rubio decided to accept the qualifying offer so that he can be an unrestricted free agent next season. Lillard has become the best player on the Trailblazers, but the core remains intact, and they added Andre Blatch to play center. Nerlens Noel is quite a bit of a surprise, and Otto Porter, the number one pick in my association, is still going to be on the bench. Now looking at this Warriors team, they added Taj Gibson, so he's going to be starting over David Lee, what it looks like. The Wizards have Wall and Beal, the most dynamic backcourt duo probably. Andrew Bynum is still a Sixer, so this is what the Sixers could have had with Shabazz Muhammad starting at the 2, and Thaddeus Young starting at the 4 to join Holiday, Turner, and Bynum. So that'll be the ultimate Sixers team, but that is not the case anymore because they look to be one of the worst teams in the league in real life. And now looking at this Bobcats team, they signed Kyle Lowry, which makes no sense because Walker or Lowry cannot play the 3, the shooting guard position. And looking at this Bucks team, they have a lot of shooting guards: Iguodala, Monte Ellis, J.R. Smith, and they're joined by Cody Zeller and Ekpe Udoh. The Chicago Bulls are still led by Derrick Rose, and their team is relatively the same. Noah's just injured. So this brings me to my question about how accurate are the 2K rosters in terms of predicting what's going to happen. I'll show you my team right now. Irving and Billups at point guard, Waiters, McLemore, and Gibson at the 2. And I'm going to have to figure out how to balance this rotation out because we have 13 players, and they're all pretty good and pretty serviceable. At the small forward, we have Paul George, Shane Battier, and Andre Roberson. I'm hoping Roberson can become a Shane Battier type player when he fully matures. Thompson and Lure are at the power forward position. Thompson has really improved, going up to an 80 overall. And then you look at the center position, we have Tyler Zeller, Anderson Varejao, and Willie Cauley-Stein. So deep front court, which is what I like to see. And now we're going to take a look at player re-signing. And Kyrie Irving wants to test free agency. This is a big question mark. I'm hoping he'll return, but we can't tell right now. As you can see, he wants to test the free agent market because he has a very high value and probably deserve a max contract. Meanwhile, I'm going to sign his fellow 2011 drafted player, which is Tristan Thompson, to relatively cheap contract to a guy who is still growing. And looking at the power rankings, we come off winning a championship, and 2K has us ranked 13th. So as you can, or actually 12th. So as you can see, the NBA landscape has changed as it does in real life. And please leave your thoughts on 2K. In my opinion, the 2K doesn't value big markets as well, and they really are more cautious about going over the cap than teams in real life. So this is Sim Basketball Operator. More association videos on the way, and I'll see you guys all next time.